My whole life, I always knew I was special. Even with no remainders, I could always move a decimal. Money on my mind while the girls that made un beso. Hustlers in my blood and it's running through my vessels. Just trying to clear the threshold, just trying to make a way. In my race against time, I could see an early grave. School to prison pipeline, 12 years a slave. Suspension and detention is conditioned for a cage. The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Katie Taylor declines Amanda Serrano's challenge for 3-minute rounds. For 12 3-minute rounds. Let's take a listen and a look at the exchange, and then we'll talk about it. So this video appears courtesy of Fight Hype. You can subscribe to Fight Hype on YouTube. Let's take a listen.
History at the Garden, being the first women to headline. We're making the biggest payday, both of us. I think we should just continue and make this fight iconic, make change in this game, and if Katie Taylor's willing, I'm ready and able to make this an equal fight, 12 rounds, 3 minutes. I mean, let's go. I say if we want to make change, I think we should make on the platform right now, the zone. We making headlines, we talking, we getting interest, and this is all about equality, and we should make the change right now. So, Katie, are you up for it? 12 3-minute rounds? 12 3-minute rounds, that's good like the men. I don't really feel like that will make a huge difference to the event is already iconic the way it is. The fact that the pre-sales are the best, the second best in history says it all really. This one is even more important than we realize. And the box, this proves a boxing that the percentages have changed already. Boxing is boxing regardless, and the fight is already iconic the way it is. Yeah, and I understand that it is, but if you want to make a change for the future and get people to notice us and get these promoters to not talk badly about women, I think we need to take a stand. I think we're making a stand the way we're actually fighting in the first place. The best find the best. This fight is going to be determined by the winner of this fight is going to be the best female fighter in the world. So we are already making a stand and taking this fight.
So that's what Katie Taylor had to say. This is Amanda Serrano's reaction to it.
Amanda, you offered Katie 12 round 3 minutes. Why is that? Is that because you feel you have better cardio? Do you think you're leveling the playing field? What was the reason?
You know what? No, it's a risk for both of us. So I'm not saying because just for me, but we've been talking about this whole week leading up to this whole fight for equality and to make history for women and to make a change for women in the sport of boxing. So I think why not this fight? We have the platform. We have two great champions, and we're making history and doing the first of everything. So why not do the 12 3-minute rounds? I mean, I thought it would have been a great idea to put our foot forward in the sport. But you remember, if it happens after today, that means they stole my idea.
Is this something that you would have discussed privately during negotiations? How come on the press conference was that to sort of put under pressure to accepting it?
I mean, you know what? I've been thinking about it the last couple of days. I'm like, the reception that we got for the pre-sale, how this fight is just coming all along. I was like, this is our chance. This is our chance to make a statement. So why not now? And then it just popped in my head.
Really? How much information or insights have you got from your?
All right, so you heard the challenge from Amanda Serrano to Katie Taylor for 12 3-minute rounds. You heard her explain why she issued the challenge. So I'm going to turn it over to Trill Dollar Bill. What's your reaction to Katie Taylor declining the 12 3-minute rounds and Amanda Serrano's reason for issuing the 12 3-minute rounds?
Disappointed. Disappointed. I asked for this. And I thought Katie wanted this. Everybody knows I'm big on Katie. I'm huge on Katie. She's my number one, as far as that's what I had as my number one. And I thought that this would favor her. She'll be able to go and be able to do more and work more. I was shocked when she declined. I was sitting there I sent the video to bro. My mouth was open. I was like, oh. You know, I kind of thought it would have been the other way around. Shame on me. Right? Shame on Trill. Yeah, I'm with Amanda. I thought that this would be the great opportunity. This would be the fight to make it 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds, and show the world what I've been going crazy about. What the bros and I've been going crazy about is that these women been coming out here and banging. This is not like the old little side shows where you see the girls come out here. No, these girls have been showing that they belong. They stepping it up. They're fighting each other. Champions are fighting champions. They're showing you that they belong. I'm a champ for women's boxing, especially because I got all these daughters. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a champ for women's boxing, and they deserve to be here. They deserve to be here, and they're showing it not by talking, not by doing the porn spreads and whatever they. You know what I mean. They have to go out there and basically sell their body. No, they're selling their
They're
skills.
doing it for their fans, not only fans.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're getting it not because of their body. They're getting it from punching you in the face. They're getting it from the mud. And I respect it. So when this happened, I was thinking that she would have been like, "Oh yeah, I want all the smoke." You know what I'm saying? When she answered the challenge, I said, "Oh yeah, Katie's gonna be like forever, whatever." Because this was the perfect opportunity. All the eyes are gonna be on this. Y'all had the chance to make this something crazy. They would have had to respect everybody after this. I just feel like they dropped the ball. This would have been huge. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm just taking it a little too personal. Y'all can tell me in the comment section, like, Trey, you taking this too personal. But I think I'm taking it a little bit hard because I really wanted to. This to me, this could have been something great. Well, it's still gonna be great, but this could have been even more. This could have been even more. You got all them chauvinistic punks that be sitting there. Oh, I don't want to watch women bang. All that you could have shut them up because both of them have the skills to do it and put on an exciting fight. 3 minutes. Oh man, it would have been. We've been talking about it. From y'all know how I feel. I've been.
All right, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, finish up.
Nah, I'm done chefing. I'm done chefing. I was just putting the spoons away.
I don't want to stop it before it's done. You know what I mean? I want you to finish the dish. All right. Conspiracy G, man, what was your reaction?
Well, before I answer that, I caught some flack the other day because I was like, Katie's gonna bring the UK fans, and people came at my life was like, she's not from the UK, she's from Ireland.
I saw that. I didn't even.
Yeah, that's weird. So what?
Yeah, I'm like, yo,
rock with a heavy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Isn't Ireland a part of the United Kingdom? So when I said it, I'm thinking because Ireland's a part of the UK, so therefore UK will come through. That's one question I do have. And I also have another question because this came up actually a couple months ago about Tyson Fury. Is Tyson Fury Irish or he's just British? You know what I mean? Because I was told he was an Irish gypsy, right? But people were like, yo, he's not from Ireland. He's from the UK. Other people saying he's from Ireland. So I need those two questions cleared up. And I take it that, since we're talking about Katie Taylor in Ireland and stuff like that, y'all could clear this up in the comments for me. But in regards to this 3-minute round thing, I'm going to be 100 with y'all. When I first found out, I was like, I'm going to jump out the window, no parachute on Katie Taylor today, right? When I put it on Twitter about this situation. And then shout out to our Boxing Bros community, CJ, Irish Boxing Bro, and Yellow Claws, right? Those three gentlemen, G checked me. You know what I mean? And they were like, hey, G, you're bugging. This is all gimmicks. And they were saying, first and foremost, all of the rounds and everything have already been agreed upon. So the fact that she's bringing it out now doesn't even make sense. So now I was like, I don't know. Let me do my own research. Come to find out, they were telling the truth. And for a woman's bout to be 3 minutes and 12 rounds, you have to get everyone has to agree. There's not one governing body could say no. All of them have to say yes, and the two promoters, the promotional teams, have to also agree to this. But Mauricio Suleiman has already said publicly, I believe, like on 2 occasions, that he won't approve 3-minute bouts for women boxing. So Serrano knows all of this. So the fact that she brought that up during the press conference last minute, that to me is like a gimmick to kind of downplay Katie Taylor, you know. And you already knew, even if Katie agreed, it's not going to happen because you already know the WBC is not going to have it. So I think this was just a gimmick, you know, and I'm not mad per se at Amanda for doing it. You know what I mean? Because she sparked an emotion, just like how Trill was like, yo, say it ain't so. I was thinking the same thing. But then when I looked it up, I'm like, why are you bringing it up right now when you know if you wanted that, that should have been negotiated upon when you guys were agreeing to this fight. So it's just all smoke and mirrors, man. But, you know, and not to mention, I forgot to say this. They also already have Amanda Serrano on Twitter saying that she doesn't even want 3-minute rounds. She's completely fine with 2-minute rounds, you know. And then her justification was, well, this is different because it's higher stakes. I don't know, man. Like, why wait to the last hour to try to get this out?
No, she said it. She said why she waited to the last minute. She said she's sitting there thinking that this is going to be monumental. She didn't know that, you know what I'm saying, that all the tickets was going to sell off fast like this.
Yeah, but think about this. Wouldn't you have already spoken to Katie Taylor and Eddie Hearn prior to this press conference to set that up?
Oh, no, that's what she said. It was spur of the moment. Like she said, it was spur of the moment. But like I was asking for, I said that this fight should have been, I've been calling for this fight to be 3 minutes.
Yeah, we all agree. We all want it to be 3 minutes. Yeah. We want it to be 12 rounds.
So, but here's the thing that I'm standing on. Even though that I don't know the backdoor things, when that young lady said to her, we should make this 3-minute, 12-minute round, the fighter in Katie, I expected the fighter in Katie to be like, yeah, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? And agree to it. That's what I was expecting. I don't know if the two all I know is that if the two combatants agree on it, then they can do it. That's what I never knew that they had to go through.
All the bodies have to also agree.
I just knew that the two combatants, if they agree on it, then and they teams want it, then they can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like even with Katie, her explanation wasn't like, oh, you know, this is already, you know, nah, I was back here, even if that was the case, to be like, hey, it was whatever.
Yeah, you see, how I'm looking at it is on both ends, I can't be mad at either approach.
Because I can't say that she's being shady, you know what I mean? Or that she was trying to.
I think it is shady low key because it's like you wouldn't wait for the press conference to just throw that on my lap, like, yo, let's make it 3-minute rounds now. I'm like, yo, hold on, what? You know what I mean? So you don't even know. Like, I'm pretty sure if this was on social media, Katie could have more time to process her response.
Yeah.
But it was a spirit.
It happens like that when you at a press conference. People be like, they be fighting and be like, you know what? Put 10 grand on it. That I'll knock you out. You know what I'm saying? It happens. It happens just like that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it plenty of times. You know what I'm saying? Somebody be like, you know what, during the press, you know, let's do this. And then they'll put it in the contract like, all right, cool. If he wins, he gets the 10 grand. Seen that happen with Fernando Vargas before. So maybe that's what she was doing. I just expect a different type of energy. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not, and you're not wrong either, G. I'm just saying.
Like, you know, because I actually agree with you. I wanted, but nonetheless, you know, to catch Katie off guard like that, I don't think that was fair, you know. And I can't blame her response because what is she supposed to say? Like, yeah, make it happen. She didn't talk to Eddie. She didn't talk to, you know, the governing body. She didn't do none of that. She's just like, yeah. So then now we get our hopes up, and it's still gonna be 2-minute rounds for 10 rounds. You see what I'm saying? So that doesn't make sense. So I kind of felt like Amanda's doing it the wrong way. It's kind of like maybe it's just a Jake Paul strategy, you know, like. Yeah, I don't know, man. It just seemed funny style, and I don't think it was cool, especially after I found out, like, you know, what is required to actually make it a 3-minute round fight. I feel like she was just trying to be funny. That was like a promotional tactic.
All right, Ned, the TVE.
All right, so like I promised Clarissa, I wouldn't look at another female boxer in my life. So, but. Katie did turning down the 12-minute rounds, 12 rounds in 3 minutes is It's because she want to pardon Amanda. She doesn't want to brutalize her. She doesn't want to beat her up. She doesn't want to, like, she wants to save her life. It's like, I think Katie Taylor's more than ready for 12 rounds, because I think she trains what what regular male fighters do, and I think she's it's nothing to her. But for Amanda to do that, it's like she's not calling her bluff. Like, it's not, oh, let's do it, let's jump in the ring. It's more like, sweetheart, relax. I live this life. I am a champion for a reason. And if you want to see me, if you want to call the shots, you gotta beat me. So if you want to be the shot caller, you gotta beat the shot caller. So that is what it is. But I never seen these two women before in my life, and I'm gonna stick to that.
All right. So I want to say this. I actually want to start with this point. We were actually at the fight where Katie Taylor beat Cindy Serrano, Amanda Serrano's sister. We were at that fight. We watched that fight. We were in the seats. It's part of the reason why we still went to the fight, because Billy Joe Saunders had pulled out of the fight or couldn't fight Demetrius Andrade. So we were like, well, Katie's on the card, so we get to see Katie, and we saw that fight. And in that fight, I was rooting for Katie. Like much of what Trill said, we root for Katie. We like Katie. We're big on Katie. But I was disappointed in what she said, in the way that she went about this. And I hear everything G said, but I'm going to counter some of what G said. One, Katie Taylor's the A side. As Ned just said, she's the shot caller. And you know that. So in negotiations, you don't want to do something that's going to stop the deal. So even if Amanda wanted 3-minute rounds, hypothetically, although we know she didn't want it during negotiations because she said it from her own mouth, but I'm just throwing it out there to dismiss it as a bluff because it wasn't negotiated for during negotiations, to me isn't really an accurate point, because Amanda Serrano wasn't in the position of power. Katie Taylor was. Katie Taylor was a shot caller. So if you're Amanda Serrano and you wanted 3-minute rounds and you requested it and they didn't want it, you were going to have to acquiesce to what they want anyway, because they are the shot callers. They're the A side and you're not. So, go ahead.
No, I'm letting you cook. I just want to throw some salt in there. Even Katie was the one that was mentioning the 3-minute rounds anyways, which made me think about 3-minute rounds anyway. Was Katie throwing it out there in the first place? But finish cooking, my brother.
Yeah, and so you don't have the leverage. Remember what we're talking about before, people, with negotiations? It's all about leverage. So who has the better options? Who can walk away from this deal and still have a great career fighting other people? That person's Katie Taylor. So if you're Amanda Serrano, you don't want to rock the boat like that, right? But also, Trills pointed it out. If you think that the person who you're fighting is on the same page as you, are you sneak attacking them when you bring something up? And I look at the way that Amanda Serrano brought it up. It didn't seem like she was coming from a place of trying to blindside Katie, trying to disrespect Katie. It seemed like, yo, we in this together. Exactly. We headlining. We making money. We doing this. Let's
show the guys what we can
boxing.
do.
Let's do 3-minute rounds. Katie, what
show
you
these
say?
Guys what we can do.
That's what it came off to me like. As I'm watching it, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to challenge Katie on some OG stuff and she's going nuts. I think she thought Katie was going to be like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's change the game. Let's make this fight bigger.
And resolve with a phone call.
Now right? It came up right then and there.
But again, you just pointed out all the things they got going against them. I'll give you an example. You said the WBC said they'll never sanction a 3-minute bout. Maybe she feels like Eddie Hearn is going to say no if you give him the call. So you spring it out there in the moment. That's what you do. You already know what it is, bro. You know in certain avenues you can't do something until you're there. That's why you see protests like sprinters win the medals, throw their fists up when they're at the podium. They don't call you and say, yo, I'm going to make a protest if I win that race, because then they're going to pull you out the race. This is a protest for women saying, yo, we want equality in boxing. That's what it sounded like to me. It didn't sound like she didn't bash Katie because Katie didn't want to do 3-minute rounds. She said, when they asked her, she said, yo, it just seemed like we're headlining. were making the most money. It just seemed like our fight was the one to change women's boxing. That's where I see the position she's coming from. It didn't seem like she was trying to make Katie look bad. Katie made Katie look bad by her response. Katie should have said, yo, I want equality in boxing too. But I wasn't prepared for that. Or I don't know if this is the fight. You understand? Or whatever. It's more like, or she should have just joined in, and then knowing that the WBC and all these other
That's
people
what I
were
was
saying
saying.
they want. But if you already know all that, why not call what you think is a bluff? Although I don't think it was a bluff. I think it was more like inspiration. I think Amanda Serrano was inspired by the moment. She's like, yo, we're about to make the most money. We're headlining. Look at the ticket sales. We can change women's boxing.
And then she was like, matter of fact, on top of that, let's do 3 minute, 12 minutes.
Exactly. And what she said wasn't like she was some G who was going to get the advantage. When they asked Amanda, she said, I don't know if it would benefit me or not. I just know that I'm willing to do it. That's what she said. So it was
I hear you, I really do. But my only thing is, if Amanda really wanted to like change the game, she should have hit up Katie Taylor directly first. Like, yo, Katie, yo, let's get this popping. We can make the 3 minute round fight, this and the third. I'm gonna bring it up at the press conference, blah, 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 blah. So that way Katie could be prepared to actually co-sign what's going on. You literally hit her off guard. Like,
what I'm saying is,
that's what I'm like, oh, come on.
I get what you're saying, G. If it was that type of how she can't, but it wasn't. Like if she said, she was like, it was in the moment. Like you ever have something that you ever been somewhere and you just had to say in the moment. It was in the moment. Like you done seen the sport before. It happened in the moment. They wasn't talking about, oh, are we gonna put a 10 grand up or whoever lose? We done seen this plenty in boxing. When you're there in the moment and you start talking with a guy, you like, you know what, I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna put 10 grand on it. Well, let's put 10 grand on it. They didn't have that before. It just happens in the still of the moment. I feel like this fight became bigger than them. And she didn't expect it. Like, even when she was saying it, she was like, she didn't expect this to be so big. They sold out, the tickets sold out before, you know what I'm saying? The pre-sales, crazy. They ain't never seen that. She's making more money than she has ever seen before in her life. She had to defend her championship belt for 4 racks. She had 4,000 to defend. That's how much she made. Now she's into making M's. The highest paid ever in boxing, women's boxing. She was inspired. It happened. She's only human. She was inspired. She said it. Yo, this is what's going on. You see the wheels turning. Even right afterwards, she was like, I don't know what I was saying. I was just feeling the moment. I was in the moment. And I was like, hey, let's do it. But I really was shocked at Katie Taylor's response. You know what I'm saying? Even though she might be privy to all the information that you were saying, G, I still would have called her bluff.
Yeah, you know and just to get into it, like the build up to her saying what she said, you can see her getting emotional about it, about all the things that they were accomplishing. In women's athletics, there have always been groundbreaking moments for the advancement of women athletics. I mean, you look at like Billy Joe King beating dude, I think his name's Riggs or something like that. The old dude. I mean, he's an old dude, but he still was a dude, and no one thought a woman could beat a dude. And she went out there and she beat him, right? And so that brought the things forward. You know, Billy Joe King and Venus Williams fighting for equal pay for women in tennis, and eventually they got it. Although some would argue that they make more money than the men now because they don't have to win 3 sets, but that's a different argument for a different day. The point I'm making is there are always these landmark moments in women's athletics that, you know, for example, like Title IX. It's the reason why Northeastern University doesn't have a football team. Yeah. They had to get rid of their football team so that they can fund women's athletics. But what I'm saying to you is, it was just a moment in which I think for women's empowerment and for the sake of women's boxing, Amanda Serrano felt like their fight was the fight to change the game. And so she spoke up on it. Now, again, no one can tell Katie how to respond. And it's not the fact that Katie declined 3 minute rounds for me. It's how she did it. Exactly. We already got the ticket sales. We already got this. I don't see how it's going to improve anything. Yeah, for your fight. Your fight's already selling. What about the lasting impact on women's boxing that you two fighting 12 3-minute, and there's no better women to do it, in my opinion, even including the woman on Ned's screen. There's no better women to fight 12 3-minute rounds than those two.
In these two.
Because it is
Say her name, Caden. Say her name.
Because somebody else's woman. Because those two have great boxing skills, high boxing IQ, and I actually think it's going to be a high quality match. So for me, I do think that fight's going to go by super fast, and everyone's going to feel like, yo, I feel like the fight just got started. I think we're going to hear a lot of robbery talk because I think they're both so good that you're going to be close rounds. They're going to be swing rounds. There's going to be all this, and then people are going to be saying, oh, well, Katie got robbed, or Taylor-Serrano got robbed, or I want to see it again. It's just not enough time to pick a definitive winner. Imagine all the fights we've seen. If it ends in the men's fight, if the round ends at 2 minutes, we're gonna be like, yo, who won that round? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just it's just not enough.
And it's for undisputed.
Yeah, and you know, and we already know who's the A side and who's the darling. So what I'm saying to you is, for me, I'm not judging Katie Taylor by her saying no to it, because it was sprung up on her last minute. I'm aware of that. She wasn't told about it. I'm aware of that. I understand what you're saying in terms of parties having to agree, but let's put it to you like this. Even at the press conference, if they agreed, right? If Katie says yes, then there's pressure on Eddie Hearn to agree. Or there's pressure on Eddie Hearn. Even Eddie could have agreed, and then behind closed doors be like, yo, Eddie, I just did that because I'm not trying to look like I'm just calling out the cap. Like, yo, keep things the way they are. Eddie could have came out like, hey, I'm the one who's not agreeing because I don't feel like whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or Eddie could have came out saying all the things you just said, G.
Maybe the next one.
Yeah. Eddie could have came out saying all the things you just said, G. We already signed the contract. The paperwork's already in. The fight's already sanctioned. You know what I mean? It's just maybe the next one. You could already do that. But it's not impossible. And F the WBC, they're a joke. Okay? So if all the other belts sanction 3-minute rounds, you think the WBC is going to sit around and be like, well, we're pulling our belt support for this fight because we're not sanctioned? That clown changes more. Mauricio Suleiman.
We be changing.
Yeah, we be changing. Right? As soon as that happens, we be changing. We will now sanction this fight. I'll tell you this much. And think about this, though. And Katie should probably reconsider and call Amanda's bluff. If I'm Katie, I call her bluff like this. I would actually get everyone to agree to 3-minute rounds. I get Eddie. I get everyone. I even get the WBC on board. And then the next press conference, slap it on her in her face like, hey, it's all set to go. I spoke with the IBF, I spoke with the WBO, I spoke with the WBA, and I even convinced the WBC to give us 12 3-minute rounds. We already drafted up the contracts. Your promoters here, Jake Paul, everyone's here. Sign it before this press conference is over. You got your wish. 3-minute rounds. And let's see her sign it. That's how you call bluffs. Like that's what I would have done. And then let's see, like, if she really wants the 3-minute rounds. But the way Katie went about it, it seemed like she wanted no parts of 3-minute rounds ever. Ever. And I didn't like that. That's what I'm saying.
And I thought the 3-minute rounds would benefit Katie because the way she boxed.
It would have made that fight bigger. The 3-minute rounds would have took that fight to orbit. That would have sold out. It would have been historic. Literally, that's what Amanda's mind is at.
I agree with y'all, gentlemen. I'm just saying. I got respect for CJ. Salute, Irish Boxing Bro. You already know you my homie. Yellow Claws make some of the funniest memes. I always go check Yellow Claws. But I'm not with y'all on this because I think Katie's like, I get it the way it happened. It's Katie's response to it doesn't make me feel like she's ever going to accept 3-minute fights. That's my issue with her response. Whereas I feel like Amanda Serrano will accept it now. So that's the difference. And if you think Amanda Serrano is capped, get it popping. That's how I would do it. But Katie's response to it just made me feel like she's content with 2-minute rounds for the rest of her career, and she never won 3.
So whether it's cap or not, here I am disappointed because I'm thinking these women really want the 3. I'm thinking these women are feeling like, yo, we want equality. And then I see it happen where someone finally puts it in front of me, issues the challenge in front of me, and I see the backpedaling. And it's not about the fact that whether Amanda Serrano was capped, whether she really wanted it, whether she negotiated for it before. It's about the fact that it doesn't seem like Katie ever wants 3-minute rounds. And I'm wasting my time sitting here saying, let these women fight 3. Give them this, give them that. I'm just sitting here like they just want the 2. So that's what it's about for me. And
Yeah,
that's what
hard. And that's
disappoints me.
hard on other girls that really pull for it. Like shout out to Michaela Mayer because she's really champs for 3-minute rounds and stuff like that. But when y'all get the opportunity, y'all gotta grab it.
Her and Alicia Baumgartner, maybe.
Yes.
You know, or Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall.
Yeah.
Although if I'm Clarissa, I would highly not. If you better do a Katie, Clarissa. So you just got to outbox her for 2 minutes. You know what I mean? But this is what it is right now, and I think this is the issue. I feel like people are missing some. It's not about whether she was capped or wasn't capped. I don't know if she was capped. To me, it didn't come off like she was capped. It came off like she was inspired. It came off like she wants to make the biggest fight in women's history, which it already is. But she said, how can we make this fight even bigger? Make it a landmark fight. Make it a ground-making fight. Make it a historic fight. Make it a fight that's going to be talked about in women's boxing for years to come. For that one that set precedent. It could be that. It's not that right now, and it's not that right now because whether bluff or not, Katie Taylor said no. If Katie Taylor says yes, it at least put pressures on the masses. It at least put pressure on Eddie Hearn. It at least puts pressure on the WBC. If they're both locking step saying we want 3, get us 3. You work for me, get me 3, Eddie. You work for me, Jake, get me 3. WBC, you don't want to sanction this? Then F your belt. Drop your belt. We still fighting 3. That changes the ball game if they're both on the same page.
Please like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We just went in. It's the Boxing Bros. Change your screen, Ned.